What's up, YouTube family? Thank you again for tuning in to one of my reviews. I know that I have been MIA for a long, long while, but I'm back now. So I thank you to everyone who has checked on me in some capacity, whether it was a DM, a message, email, however you decided to do that. I greatly appreciate it. So while I was, in my an, I had some people who was asking me about certain shows, and this happened to be one of them, the Miss Pat show that's available on betplus. This is a show that I watched, and so I'm more than happy to give you guys my overall thoughts about it. I thought about doing the reviews episode by episode, but I wasn't gonna do all that. So I'm just gonna give y'all what I thought about it and all that good stuff. So here we go. So this is the Miss Pat show overall thoughts. If this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning family member, I know it's been a long time and I am so happy to get back into this thing. I have a couple more videos coming out later on today, so y'all just be on the lookout for that as well. So when it comes to the Miss Pat show, I absolutely loved it. I absolutely love it. It's already been renewed for season 2, which I am really happy about. I'm happy for everybody who is a part of that cast. They all did a great job, especially because I don't know half of them. I didn't know half of. I didn't even know who Miss Pat was. The only people I knew on the show was Tammy Roman, of course, and oh God, I forget the young lady's name who played her oldest daughter, the one who was the therapist. So I have absolutely nothing negative to say about it. I know some people off rip didn't like the show because of the explicit language, and I get it because it is very explicit when it comes to the language. But that didn't bother me. I thought that the stories within each episode, they were just that good that the language didn't matter, and it made me feel like unlike many sitcoms of the past, we knew there was going to be some type of problem or issue. And by the end of the episode, there was going to be some type of resolve. Someone was going to solve the problem. Someone was going to do something for a conclusion. And so I didn't feel like that when I was watching the Miss Pat show. I felt like I was watching a family that life was happening to, and they were doing their best to respond to the unexpected situations that life was bringing them. It felt like a real family. It felt like I wasn't watching a TV family, but just a normal family who was going through day-to-day problems and day-to-day issues and past issues that they never dealt with. And I felt like a lot of people could relate to that. And so even though the episodes were very comedic driven, they hit on a lot of deep issues. These issues included drug addiction, domestic abuse, sexual abuse, coming out to the family, and the importance of therapy. Now, there are some people who don't care for the show, and that's fine, and felt like it did not depict Black people in the greatest of light. So some of us, I am included in the some of us, love stating that Black people are not monolithic, meaning we are not the same, and we are not. There are some things that are familiar and relative to all of us as a culture. However, we were all raised differently, so our perspectives are different, and that is perfectly fine. It is perfectly okay. But to look down on someone and spew hate for them sharing their truth, that's the mess that, that's the stuff that rubs me the wrong way. I think that, just some of the comments that I saw as it pertained to Miss Pat and the show, and the reality was this woman was displaying her reality to the world. There are some people who stay caged in denial about what may have happened to them as a child, what may have happened to them in their adolescence. And, Miss Pat is definitely an open book. She has shared so much, and I have had the opportunity to listen to some of her interviews on The Breakfast Club and some of her other interviews. And if you have not listened, the things that this woman talked about on that show, these things were her real life. It was, whether you could say life imitating art or art imitating life, everything that was happening on the show, it came from a real place. And that's the one thing that I can, respect so much, because it is a challenge to just bear all, be transparent, and be open to critique, to be open to public opinion and everything else like that. So I really respect her for creating the show that she absolutely wanted. And there are a lot of stars who have been in the game for a long time who has not created the type of art and are not creating the type of art that they desire. But this woman who has a powerful testimony, has a powerful story, is able to do that. So I'm grateful that she's able to, bring her truth to the screen. One thing that I really loved was that therapy played a vital component in the show. And it is rare. It is rare, almost, never been done before that I can remember, that a black man on television initiated the conversation of therapy, let alone going to therapy without having to be pushed or influenced by his wife. That was big. That was big. I think sometimes people are just looking for an opportunity to be negative about something without really looking at the beauty that was presented to us. And I thought that was a beautiful moment, a beautiful thing if you actually, got through the 10 episodes. For over 20 years, so dealing with the husband, I said that was going to be spoilers, but there's going to be some spoilers, but I'm going to try to make it as, overall as possible without giving too many specifics. But her husband, for over 20 years, he had been, providing and cooking, and he was taking care of his family. And then he lost his job, and everything that he's been able to do for the past 20 plus years, he's not in a position where he's been stripped of that. I'm not a man, so I can't speak from a man's perspective, but I felt like it was presented to us like that's how he identified himself, as a man, and that was his identity within the family unit. And now that was stripped, he felt worthless and useless to his family. And so if you watch the show, you saw that he was getting very, very aggressive. He snapped a lot. He was going off on the kids, yelled at them. And he just knew that wasn't the type of father that he wanted to be. And it wasn't the type of father that he was. So he went out and sought the help and got the help that he needed. We also saw the struggle in getting Pat to go to therapy because she felt like she didn't need it. She was good. She wasn't trying to go. And I think that is the perfect response that a lot of us Black people give when it comes to therapy. Nah, I'm good. I got it. I'm straight. All I got to do is pray. All I got to do is just, read a little bit, meditate a little bit. And if those things work for you, fine. But I also think it is good to have an objective opinion or an objective counteractive view. Because when you are, I feel like if you're only lining yourself up with what you think, how you feel, there's no one there to challenge that. And so you're going to get the same results. So I felt that it was a very powerful moment that she actually went to therapy with her husband. Even though at the end she was like, she want her husband to continue to go to therapy because she ain't trying to hear all that. So I thought it was a cute moment. It was very powerful too, because she actually felt relieved talking about her own issues, her own problems, and some things she didn't even know that was still, plaguing at her after so many years. So that part was good. I thought that was I love that component because rarely do we even see therapy being brought up on shows that directly influence the Black community or that has been created for, Black demographics. So that was great to see. Now, Tami Roman, I think she's a great actress, just off rip, but it was really good seeing her portray the role of Pat's sister, who was a recovering drug addict. I think she was addicted to crack for a while, and she moved with Pat to kind of get a new lease on life. And their comedic timing, like I knew not Candy, where the hell that came from? I don't know. I knew Tami was funny, but her comedic nature really came out in this series. So it was just hilarious. I enjoyed it. Now there was episode 10, which was the last episode. I remember listening to an interview and Pat talked about how they actually filmed episode 10 before they filmed episode 9. And she was really happy that they did that because episode 10 was a very heavy episode. And the last scene of episode 10 was of Pat and Tami Roman's character. They were going at it. That scene was so hard to watch, not even because of the language. It literally felt like I was watching a family being stripped apart. And I'm like, no, stop yelling. Don't call her another. I was like really invested in that scene because it was so authentic. it didn't even seem like they were acting. It was so authentic. It was so real. And I was just like, dang, I literally sat there with my mouth open. And for those who have watched it, you know what I'm talking about. And, you know, I was just like, dang, man, that's how they gonna end this. They didn't end on a good note. It was not ended on a good note. It was not, it didn't end on a positive note. But it was a real note. You know, it was a real note. And I just, you know, I just encourage everybody, you know, to watch it. You know, it is not for children. Okay, even though there are kids on the, you know, teenagers on the show, this is not a child's sitcom, and it's being pushed as that. It is it is a comedic sitcom for adults. That's just what it is. Is that good? And I think that for me, I enjoyed every episode because it showed the realness when you have been accustomed to living in a certain neighborhood, a certain state, a certain city, and you move. I moved a lot, you know, in my real life. I moved a lot. And so it was never hard for me to find friends. But for a lot of the time, I kind of stayed to myself. You know, I kind of stayed to myself to see like where I fit in, who I actually like in these groups. And, you know, which was a great thing because I became, you know, really cool with everybody. You know, I was cool with those who were, you know, we called them goths back then. I don't know what they call it now. They dressed in all black fingernail polish, just black everything. And they were some of the sweetest people, but people were afraid because of how they looked on the outside, but they were like the sweetest people. I was cool with those who were atheists. You know, they didn't believe what I believe, but they were some of the sweetest people too. You know, so I got an opportunity to see where I fit in at and who I could, you know, be cool with. And that's kind of the role that the daughter took. The daughter didn't know where she fit in. She was the only black girl, I think, in the entire school. So she didn't know how to feel. She felt like she was on an outsider. I'm just here. I'm just existing in this school, not really connected to anybody. And the younger brother, his experience was completely different because he felt like he was the cool black kid. And I'm like, no, buddy, you're not. To the black people, you're like the cornball dude. But to the white kids, you were the cool dude. So it showed everybody's experience and how they feel, you know, once they have left out of what is familiar to them and what is comfortable for them. So I just thought it was a great episode, even with the older sister coming out to her family and the mom, Pat, she didn't know how to take it. You know, she felt like it was something that she could have done to prevent it. But I think it showed, especially in black families, you know, it definitely showed the how did you become this way type of mindset. And, you know, she had to correct her mom on certain things. You shouldn't say certain words and titles that are offensive and things like that. And that was a real depiction because Pat has a daughter who is a lesbian and she didn't know how to respond to that. So I thought it was really, really good. You know, just as a whole, it was a great show. I'm excited to see what they're bringing back for season 2. I didn't want to make this video too long. And I just encourage everybody, if you have not seen it for yourself, watch it. You know, gain your own opinion about it. Don't just listen to people because your taste may not be someone else's taste. So just get your own feel for the show, and I guarantee you will like it because it's not a bad show at all. I thought it was really good. And I'm glad it was different. I'm glad that we're seeing so many black people, you know, getting their own TV shows and getting their own series and things of that nature. So I'm excited. It is a great time to be black in the entertainment industry. You know, letting your voice be heard and things of that nature. So it was a great show. I give it an A. It was that good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's not that, I think they're like 27 minutes. They're not even that long, but you still feel fulfilled after watching. So yeah, check out the Miss Pat show for those who haven't, and I will holler at y'all later. Until next time, one.